Good afternoon, guys. It is Sunday. We are getting closer and closer to the first snow, which we're looking forward to. It's 37. Wait a minute. I haven't checked temp on my phone in a couple of hours. Um, it's supposed to get to 47 with a real feel of 31. I'm inclined to believe that as a possibility. Now, I've done quite a bit of research. Now, I'm going to start with this. Title's video is going to be Racial Privilege Hypocrisy and World Events. Because here's the deal. Earlier this week, I went around with one of these social justice idiots complaining about white privilege and white supremacy. If these people took the time to focus their energy on real issues, my God, they can move mountains. But I'm going to start here. Do not expect me to apologize for being white. I'm not going to do it. Nobody should ever have to apologize for the skin they were born into. They didn't choose it. It just happened. Now, let me say this. If you have a secure roof over your head that isn't a bypass or cardboard, you're privileged. If you have the option of 3 meals a day and you don't have to choose whether you eat or your child eats 3 meals, you're privileged. If you have a full-time job with benefits like full insurance, health, dental, vision, hospitalization, you might want to add mental health because you are privileged. Now, if you pay for all them things with a full-time job, plus have a lease on a car, you are definitely privileged. And for people to whine about being privileged, and they have all these things, and there are so many families in this country that do not have it, piss off. Enough is enough. Now, think about what these idiots could do if they focus on real things. Solving real problems like hunger, homelessness. It would be easy, bring back full-time quality employment. You'd be on the right track there. Anyway, meanwhile, back in reality with things that actually matter. There were 9 children killed in northeastern Afghanistan by a landmine that was left behind at some point. It's not known who left it. These kids were doing nothing but going to school to get an education, and they were murdered. It's just shameful. Really, it is. Now, again, I gotta tell you, if you haven't heard, I'm sure you probably have, Trump went to a UFC Ultimate Championship fighting event in New York, and he got booed by everyone in the crowd. I'm sure that took some wind out of his ego, but hey, that's the way it goes. Now, he has reaffirmed that the government was after the oil and northeastern corner of Syria all along. That was the sole purpose of going there. So for all of you who yell and scream about communism has killed millions, look at what capitalism has done. Just in the 20 years since 9/11, they have killed almost 75 million people. That's with sanctions, that have starved people, that is with war, that is with drones. All of it. All in pursuit of oil. Capitalism has killed more time, and they will continue to do it. If anyone gets in their way. Moving on. By the way, I will leave you the articles I'm basing these on. It seems Pentagon needs cash fast without an explanation. The Sputnik had an article. No time to explain. Pentagon needs cash. DC think tank ranks Russia alongside Daesh as a key threat. Well, getting rid of Daesh would be easy. Just dissolve the CIA. There goes your funds for terrorism. Alright, let's look at this from a different perspective. But first I want to ask you a question. Your teenager comes to you and says, Mom or Dad, I need $2,000. I don't have time to explain. Do you give them the money? Hell no. No. We'll say to Dad, we are discussing why they need that money. Then we're going to discuss the terms of paying it back. Okay? This is the attitude that we should be taking with the government in all branches of it. The last time we were told Pentagon needs money, they don't have time to explain. We're still in Afghanistan. We are still, Iraq. And we're still there. Now, I will leave you a link to Colin Powell's WMD speech he made at the UN, which turned out to be complete bull. Not only did Saddam not have weapons of mass destruction, but as Benji Netanyahu, whined and complained that Saddam was trying to make a nuclear bomb, there was nothing there. He was never trying. Anyway, so that's that. Next article. If NATO strikes Kaliningrad, Russia will seize the Baltic in 48 hours. My friends, I'm inclined to believe they could do it. You think about this. We have been on a rampage since 2001 where we were told that some yahoo in the middle of nowhere, Afghanistan, armed with satellite-connected internet and cell phone service, orchestrated one of the worst terrorist attacks on our soil since Pearl Harbor. Think about that. That's all. 2021 will be 20 years. We've been on this capitalist, oil-driven craze, blood-spilling warpath over lives for oil. What has Russia been doing? Well, they haven't been wiping out half the population that says no to them. That's one thing. They've been advancing their military armor. I did a video, I think back in the summer, about some of the stuff they've developed. They are improving their military arsenal, while we're not. Now, we are on this bloodthirsty, oil-grabbing craze. And you and me, we're not doing a damn thing in the world about it. We're not yelling at them. We're not denying them funds. We're not doing nothing. We are just too busy about arguing who has too much privilege, who has too much supremacy, and just whether this person or that person should be voted off Dancing with the Stars. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. Who gets voted on, off, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Here's the problem. Should NATO do this, as a retaliation against the Syrian citizens for re-electing President Bashar al-Assad because he reached out to Russia for help, and he reached out to Iran for help and got it. We keep punishing those citizens. This is going to come back. If NATO keeps pushing their way into Russian territories, Kaliningrad is still a Russian territory. There's going to be consequences. Not for us here, necessarily, but for people over there. This has got to stop. This has got to stop. We cannot keep sitting back and think, well, maybe it's better if we don't know what they're doing. We need to be informed. We've got to stop. We've got to stop bickering with each other over stupid things like color of your skin. About how, who has too much privilege, who doesn't have enough. These things don't matter. When shit hits the fan, they're not going to matter. They're not going to put food in your stomach. They're not going to put food in your children's stomach. They're not going to keep a roof over your head. It's not going to matter. Moving on. Russia's sovereign internet law. Okay. Now there is some pushback on it. I'm going to leave you a link to it. But here's the deal. Basically, from my understanding, and I'm going to leave you the articles. I would appreciate if you read them. If you have a diplomatic background, you have a legal background, intelligence background, go over it, look at them, and post, what you think, what this, means to you. Now, as far as I'm concerned, every nation should have its own sovereign internet. We should not be required to be hooked up to the World Web every freaking day of our lives. I mean, every minute, every day, every second. It's exhausting. Really, it is. What this has allowed is countries like the Israeli government can hack into computers where people do voting by computer, and they can change the votes. There were people just in south of Michigan, in Illinois, people that tried to vote for Trump, and it flipped their vote to Hillary. And they would keep trying. They could not use a written ballot because the state of Illinois, like Florida, doesn't have a written ballot anymore. Luckily, Michigan does. And it's closed. Which means how I vote is my business, it's not their business. I can vote Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. It's one ticket, and that's it. You go straight down the line. You can't cross over. That's the only objection I have. Now, here's just what. This is why we need. Every country should be doing this. On the day you have an election, every country should be able to disconnect from the world web, which means you have an independent media in that nation alone for 48 hours. Because it takes about that long to calculate all the voting, and then they get this way all the tabs from our military bases overseas. All their votes can come in and be sent in. Now, I put this out here because I realize people are going to say, well, it's Russia that hacked. Was Russia hacked? No. Russia has been focusing on improving their military defenses, planes, automobiles, and their garb, their uniforms. We are not. They have developed their own independent internet. So if they want you the next time there's a vote, fruit fly on face, they can disconnect for 48 hours while the people are voting the day before, that day, and then the day after. 72 hours. They can start the morning that the voting starts. Yes, we know. They can start the morning of the voting, disconnect, and it's going to be set up where people who work within the Russian system, and they use their internet, they will have an alternative internet. They'll still be able to work, but it'll be 24 to 48 hours before it's put on the internet. The world internet, that is. Now, once the voting's done, they can reconnect to the world web. And nobody can screw around with their voting system. I want to call it democratic vote, but let's face it, there's nothing democratic about voting. You got a bunch who make the choice, the person that's going to benefit them the most, and then we have to live with the consequences. Kind of like karma for all that we've done and just turned a blind eye to that's being done in our name. I know it sounds harsh, but look, I'm over this stuff, okay? Even the cat's got an opinion around here. Anyway, I'm going to stop here because I don't think she's going to let me go any further. And I will see you guys tomorrow with Missing Child Monday. And then we move into Chapter 9 in Technocracy Rising. I'll see you guys then.